This is a mock interview conducted by Forum IAS Academy at New Delhi. The interview panel includes eminent academicians, retired bureaucrats, and other luminaries. The objective of program is to acquaint the candidate with the format and expectations of the personality test conducted by UPSC.
May I come in, sir?
Please come.
Namaste, sir. Namaste, sir. Sir, can I sit?
Please sit down. Vidya Sagar.
Yes, sir.
आप अपना हिंदी में दे रहे हैं या इंग्लिश में दे रहे हैं?
Sir, English.
इंग्लिश में दे रहे हैं. All right. You are from NIT Tirchi.
Yes, sir.
आप रहने वाले हैं बिहार के. How did you reach Trichy?
Sir, it was on the basis of allocation in JEE mains of 2013. So, in the counseling, I preferred NIT Tirchi as my first choice, and because I had a good rank, so NIT Tirchi was allocated to me.
All right, very good. So you passed out in 2017.
Yes, sir.
उसके बाद आपने to last year you have joined Indian Railway Account Services.
Yes, sir.
How are you finding Indian Railway Account Services?
Sir, it is very good service. I have just joined as a probationer, and right now we were having foundation course in National Academy of Indian Railway, Vadodara, and I was able to make a lot of friends there, and a lot of cultural programs were organized. So right now, sir, I would not have a first-hand experience of the field job, but sir, I think it is a very good service going by the first expression what I have.
Mm-hmm. So if it is very good service, then why are you wanting to quit that and join some other service?
Sir, because Indian Administrative Service and the services above my railway account service, which I have put in the service preference, will give me a diverse field of working, and I will be able to take a much bigger responsibility and would be able to work for the people.
All right, very good. Tell me, what are the biggest challenge or challenges? What are the biggest challenges before the railways?
Sir, the first challenge before the railway is to reduce its operating ratio, which is currently very high, and it is 96.2%. Sir, the second challenge before railway is to modernize the Indian Railway. The third challenge before...
When you say modernize Indian Railway, what does that mean?
Sir, modernization means doubling of tracks, electrification of the railway lines, which is currently only 70%.
So why can't we do that?
Sir, electrification was, the process was slow because of some internal struggle between electrical department and mechanical department. Because sir, our senior professor in electrical engineering told us that actually we are saving 13,500 crore rupee per year because of electric traction. So there was a tussle going on, and
right. So because of internal politics or mismanagement, or since you were working in silos, you could not make progress. This is what
yes,
you're saying?
Sir. Yes,
all
sir.
Right. Okay. What else? What about doubling of tracks?
Sir, doubling of tracks is also going on. Right now, I do not have data for that. But sir, in this process...
अच्छा, आप बिहार के रहने वाले हैं. आपको क्या लगता है? आप आंख बंद करके सोचें कि what is the biggest problem with railways? Forget about this operating ratios. Whoever comes from railway, he says the same thing. वहाँ आपको ट्यूटर करते हैं क्या सुबह से शाम तक कि ऑपरेटिंग रेशियो हमारा खराब है, ऑपरेटिंग रेशियो हमारा खराब है, इसको ठीक करना है?
No, sir, they do not tutor us. But sir, the fact of the matter is that railway is a somehow business entity. It has to worry about its profit, and if it's not able to generate revenue, then it will not be sustainable.
आपने कभी ये देखा है पूरी दुनिया में most of the railways are running into losses. It's a public infrastructure.
Yes,
even
sir.
if it is subsidized by the government, it doesn't matter. इसीलिए मुझे आप बिहार के रहने, अगर आपको बिहार से दिल्ली आना तो आप कैसे आओगे? आपको क्या चाहिए सबसे पहले?
Sir, the railway infrastructure.
रेलवे रिजर्वेशन सीट चाहिए आपको, चाहे आप बैठ के ही आए.
Yes, sir.
वो मिलती है कभी?
Sir, most of the time I get, but
Because you are in the railway account services, or हमको तो आता नहीं मिली. Even as an
sir,
IAS officer.
there is a queue there, sir, and railway should be worried about this long queue.
Not only long queue. Suppose I want to go from here to there. I should be reasonably definite that within 2 days or 3 days I'll get a seat, a reservation. That doesn't happen. If I can't get people from Bihar or Eastern UP or poorer states, they will find it very difficult to travel on Indian Railways. And railways are meant primarily for common man and common woman.
Yes, sir, you are right. And basically, sir,
तो आप लोग उसी बात करते हो, आप ऑपरेटिंग रेशो की बात करते हो. As a civil servant, you must step into the shoes of your client. Who is your client? Common man. तो गांधी जी का एक वो नहीं है स्लोगन, यहाँ पर नहीं लिखा कहीं. विशेष कि अगर आपको कभी टेस्ट करना हो कि मुझे क्या करना चाहिए और क्या नहीं करना चाहिए, you should get into the shoes of the common man and find out what needs to be done.
Sir, I think railway does have a solution for that. The cross subsidization which is currently happening through the freight should not be done. If railway has a social obligation, then that subsidy should be paid by central government to the railway.
So why can't it be done? Tell me.
Sir, it is the prerogative of the government of the day.
You are part of the government of India. You are the government.
That is correct, sir.
So,
but sir, still the decision has to be taken by government. And
here, whether somebody takes a decision or not, when we are asking question, you must express that, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
All over the world, you go to small countries, trains आते खाली रहती हैं. They run into huge losses, but it's being subsidized by the government everywhere, including in England.
Yes, sir. I think,
because
sir,
common man का सबसे अच्छा transportation का जो साधन है, वो railways है.
Yes, sir.
If Government of India can give the subsidy for petroleum product, for a whole lot of other things, for farmers, and why can't they give a little bit of subsidy to Indian Railways?
Yes, sir. Government should give subsidy.
Tell me, since you are working as an Indian Railway Account Services man, what are the two most important features or important attributes of a good accountant?
Sir, he should be punctual in considering the proposals of various departments of railway when they forward a proposal. Then that should be considered. And sir, the second is that it should be reform oriented. Right now we do not have a accrual based accounting. So sir, there is a famous story that in I think around 2016 railway was I think its operating ratio was pretty high.
Forget accounting ratio. I don't want to get it. You see, in accountancy, first is correctness of your figures. If it is 4, then it is 4, and not 4 should not become 5.
Yes, sir.
That's the one problem. And secondly, honesty in those figures. Okay, even if you are writing 4 as to 4, but it should be an honest representation of what you want.
Yes.
Because you can fudge with numbers and that can create havoc. Like in case of Satyam.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Sir, it is on 12th of April.
All right. Vidya Sagar.
Sir, I have worked upon some areas which I myself identified, and sir, I think it would be complete by 10th.
Very good. All right. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Vidya Sagar, your optional is mathematics, right?
Yes, sir.
Why did you take mathematics?
Sir, in mathematics, first of all, I have a genuine interest. Sir, second is that mathematics is a scoring optional in UPSC and it has objectivity associated with it. So, I knew from the very beginning that if I give X amount of time in maths, then I will be able to secure Y amount of marks in it. And over the period of time, my marks in maths will not reduce in UPSC. So, these were the few reasons because of which I selected mathematics as optional in UPSC.
Okay. And you are in revenue account service, right?
Railway account service.
Railway account service. Okay. Railway account service. Yes.
And you've recently been to where? Dharamshala, right?
Sir, I did not go for the track.
You did not go?
Yes.
Why?
Sir, because last time I got less marks in interview, and this time, sir, I was thinking about the worst case scenario which can happen with me in interview, and then I figured out that it might happen that I might get my interview within first 10 days. So
you skipped a part of your training for preparing
no,
for
sir,
interview?
that track is optional. All the academics and all other things I attended, and because it is an optional thing, so the academy also gave us an option to skip it.
Okay. What all things are you learning there?
Sir, in NIR, the first thing we learned is how to build relationship with other professionals, and how to work as a team, because currently railway is working in silos, and we have people from every service, IRTS, IRPS, even some engineering service guys were there. So that thing, sir. And other than that, we also had a lot of cultural programs, like we celebrated India Day there, where foods from regional basis were served. On one India Day, there were foods from South India.
Okay.
These kind of things happen.
Do you know who was John Nash?
Yes, sir.
Who was he?
Sir, John Nash is a famous mathematician, and he was suffering from schizophrenia, and later a movie was made on him, A Beautiful Mind.
Yes.
And
Movie was made. What theory did he give?
sir, I am not aware about his actual contribution. I will go and read about it.
You watched the movie?
No, sir, I just know about the movie.
You just know about the movie?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. What is game theory?
Sir, game theory is a game where a player has to make a decision, and the game is competitive game. He has to make a decision which will leave him better off, no matter what decision is made by the other player. And in the game, they can cheat each other. It is a zero-sum game, and they tend to benefit by cheating each other.
Okay. Can you apply game theory into international relations?
Yes, sir, it can be applied. For example, sir, in current Russia-Ukraine conflict, I think Russia reached a decision that the enough is enough, and if it allows Ukraine to be the part of NATO, then its national interest might suffer. So the lack of trust between United States and Russia led to a conflict where it could have been easily avoided. USA could have easily persuaded NATO to somehow convince Ukraine that it will not join NATO, and Russia could have also cooperated with US to not invade Ukraine. They could have said it, but in the current scenario, because they lack trust, so they are fighting among themselves.
So how is game theory applied here?
Sir, because in the game theory, there is a better option which can be achieved with a level of trust.
So what you mean is that it's not a zero-sum game. A medial ground could have been reached.
Yes, sir. If it is not a zero-sum game, one ground could have been reached, which is better.
And you said Russia said enough is enough. What do you mean by that?
Sir, from 1990, a continued expansion of NATO eastwards have happened.
Is that a bad thing?
Sir, from Russian perspective, it is definitely a bad thing, because NATO's stated objective is to contain Russia and to enhance its influence in the Europe. So Russia, from Russian perspective, it is a bad thing.
And is that the only reason why Russia invaded Ukraine?
Sir, there might have been other reasons as well, but
what are those reasons?
So Russia might also be tempted to neutralize an emerging enemy in Ukraine, because it was tilting towards West, and particularly the Western Ukraine has a lot of similarity with Europe, Western Europe, and in the Eastern Ukraine, the population is Russian origin, Donbass region particularly.
Okay. And you like reading books on international relations also?
So reading books, reading books on mythology and non-fiction.
It's written international relations.
Sir, it
So
is.
you have interest in international relations?
Yes, sir. I do
Okay,
have
okay.
interest in international relations.
Got it. Okay. So what is the reason of economic crisis in Sri Lanka?
Sir, there are two reasons of economic crisis in Sri Lanka. Sir, the first reason is the collapse of tourism post COVID-19. So, as number of tourists reduced, so its foreign exchange reserve plummeted. And the second reason is the enforcement of organic farming in the whole country. So, its export of tea also declined. So, coupled with the declining tourism and export decline of the tea, this situation created an economic crisis in Sri Lanka.
What do you mean by prisoner's dilemma?
Sir, the prisoner's dilemma is the same thing which comes from game theory, that two prisoners are locked in a different prison and they will benefit by stabbing each other.
Can you apply prisoner's dilemma in the subcontinent?
Yes, sir. In the case of India and Pakistan, there is a study that the mutual trade might be, the highest potential might be around $35 billion. The diplomat Mr. Hussain Haqqani, he was just saying this thing. But sir, because of the lack of trust, there is a hostility between India and Pakistan, and the economic connectivity in the subcontinent is not there. So basically, both countries are suffering from this.
Okay. All right, Vidyasagar, one thing which boggles me is that despite your interest in international relations, you have given the choice of service in such a way that in no circumstances do you get IFS.
Yes, sir.
Why is that?
Sir, because I have made some commitments to my family, and when I was discussing this thing with them, so they persuaded me to not fill it on the top, and I obliged.
So you just don't want to leave India.
Sir, I do want to leave India, but not for a very long period of time.
Acha, okay, you just want to travel.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir, that's it.
Vidyasagar. Vidyasagar, you have mentioned that you have an interest in international relations,
Yes, sir.
right? And you were talking about NATO also. So can you tell me why NATO is existing post the end of Cold War? What is the reason for the existence of NATO? Because the Warsaw Pact or the Warsaw Treaty Organization, that has already been dissolved as soon as the Cold War period ended. So why is this still existing?
Sir, it should have been disbanded post the collapse of Soviet Union, but West wants to maintain its dominance of the global order, and that is the most prominent reason for the existence of NATO in the current time. It wants to push Russia further and further, and I think the Russian size and the resource availability which Russia has is the one of the most important reason because of which NATO is existing.
Okay, okay. So, do you think this is also an issue which should be taken up at the level of UN in order to consolidate and maybe maintain a status quo, or to ensure that security is ensured, that such organizations should be disbanded, which are purely military treaty organizations, which have no purpose beyond their date?
Yes, sir. I do believe that UN should take up these causes, and the organizations like this should be disbanded because they have lost their relevance in this 21st century. But sir, because of the geopolitical reasons and strategic reasons, this could not be done by UN, because the nations like USA, Britain, France hold the veto, and they will not let it happen.
Okay. So, what is the geopolitical significance of the current political crisis in Pakistan?
Sir, the one most significant thing which might happen is the rising Chinese influence in Pakistan might rise post this crisis, and also because government in the Pakistan will be a weak government, so increased Talibanization might happen in Pakistan, and moreover the attacks on Pakistani forces from Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan might also increase. And the whole region might get destabilized because of the terror groups might start functioning again, and less law and order situation would be there. So basically, sir, it will spill over to the other parts of the world.
Okay, okay. You have also mentioned that reading books on mythology and non-fiction.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, when we say mythology, is it mythology or is it history? Why do we call it mythology?
Sir, because there are not enough evidence to prove the events, but because it is in our collective memory, that is why we call it mythology. And it is a part of imaginary order also, that there is imaginary order.
Evidence is something to be found out.
Yes, sir.
As and when archaeological things emerge or archaeological evidences emerge, things they can be proved. So, but we have already assumed that it is mythology, right? We can see, you can call something as myth only when it is proved that it cannot exist. So that is why we'll call it a myth. But something which has not been proven to be untrue, why should we call it a myth?
Yes, sir, I agree with you there that there might be an discussion should be happening on this, that what should it be called, whether it should be called myth or it should be called some unproven history of India.
Okay. Vidyasagar, we have in our current historical expression, we see that the role of revolutionaries is just mentioned like a footnote, whereas revolutionaries were the one who were driving the movement. And in fact, as the INA was formed at the most later stage, that actually quickened the departure of British from India. So do you think the revolutionary movement should now be given prominence in our historical textbooks?
Yes, sir, I do believe that the actual role of the revolutionaries should be highlighted, and people like Shyamji Krishna Verma, Bagha Jatin, and Khudiram Bose, and the sacrifices made by 7 students in Bihar, and the role of INA in ensuring India's freedom should be mentioned objectively in our history books. And they should be given due respect also.
Okay. So that means we should definitely look at rewriting our history.
Yes, sir. If there is some factual inaccuracies and some contributions which has not been acknowledged in the times, so that contribution can be acknowledged, and the history can be made more objective, and there should not be any ideological dimension into reading of the events.
Okay, okay. So what is the last thing that you have read in non-fiction?
Sir, I read Sir, I'm forgetting the title of the rudest book ever. Sorry, sir. The title of the book is The Rudest Book Ever.
The road.
Yes, sir. Yeah, rudest book ever.
Rudest book ever. Okay, okay. And what else have you read recently in non-fiction?
Sir, before that, I was reading Homo Deus. I read some 50 to 60 pages, and before that, I was reading Sapiens.
Sapiens.
Yes, sir. And
Yuval Noah Harari. Okay, okay, fine. So currently, we have seen that some days back, I think 2 days back, Russia has said that it will now accept payment for its oil and gas imports to exports to Europe only in rubles, the Russian currency. So what is the significance of that move for Russia?
Sir, basically this is a tit-for-tat strategy adopted by Russia, because West weaponized the financial architecture of the world. So basically Russia is also trying to pay back, and because it knows that the Western Europe has a dependency on Russia for its energy supplies, so it is also trying to arm twist them, so that before taking any such steps, they think twice.
Okay. One last question. Should we say that you are in IRAS or in IRMS? Because now it's IRMS, I think.
Sir, I am in IRAS, because IRMS has been notified just now, and the new batches will come from 2022 UPSC in 2022. So I am in IRAS.
Oh, fine. Thank you.
So hi Vidyasagar, you are from Bihar.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Just a couple of days ago, the Chief Minister of Bihar made a remark. He termed that all those who drink are Mahapapi. So, do you agree with this statement? Are you aware of the statement that
Yes,
he
sir.
made?
I am aware of the
Okay.
statement.
Do you agree with this statement?
No, sir. I do not agree with this statement.
Okay. So, do you agree with the prohibition policy of the Bihar government?
Yes, sir. I do agree with the prohibition policy of the Bihar government.
Can you state your reason?
Sir, the first reason is the social reason. Because of the widespread consumption of liquor, the domestic violence was happening, and other than this, sir, the health expenditure of the Bihar was also rising because of the liquor problem, and law and order problem was also there, where because girls were harassed and some stalking activities were also going on. And because, sir, Bihar's per capita income is very low, it comes around 4,000 something, 4,200 rupee per month. So, sir, if the household is spending a wide portion of that income on liquor, then it will not have sufficient income to spend on other productive assets. So,
Okay.
sir, given those arguments, the ban was justified.
Has there been any study which has shown that since prohibition there has been decrease in incidents of violence against women, or there have been reduction in the incidents of domestic violence?
Sir, I don't think there is any study which supports these
So
points.
it's all conjecture that it will lead to reduction. There is no empirical evidence that we have right now.
Yes, sir, and there is no empirical evidence. But, sir, because my optional is mathematics, so it reminds me of the Ramanujam. He used to guess answers and other would prove for him. So I think, sir, it is the classical case of that.
Just a couple of days ago, since this remark was made, I was watching on the television. That person said that the news, he was presenting the news. The newscaster said that he is also from Bihar, and he was saying that even at the roadside, वो जो कहते हैं ना, what do you call them, roadside vendors, जो
Yes.
नुक्कड़ पे वो दुकान रहती है, even there you can get the small paua और वो सब मिलता है अभी वहाँ पे. He was saying that the policy has not been very effective. What has happened is that the whole market has gone underground. So don't you think that the Bihar government is losing the revenue which could have they collected legitimately from the taxes, and the problem is still there?
Sir, if roadside vendors are selling the liquor, then, sir, there is a problem in the implementation of the policy. The policy as per se is not wrong. Sir, when it comes to the revenue loss, sir, if liquor would have been allowed, then Bihar would have more health issues. So in that case, it would be incurring more expenditure on health front.
Okay.
So, sir, basically it's a payback that somewhere it is losing and somewhere it is gaining.
Okay, all right. So Vidyasagar, once very famous social reformer. Can you tell me his contributions?
Yes, sir. He was one of the founding father of our Renaissance. He helped J.D. Bethune establish Bethune School for the girls. Other than this, he also helped abolish. He helped in Widow Remarriage Act enactment in 1856, and his Bengali premier Born Parichaya still remains the standard way of introducing Bengali literature to the students. And he also broke priestly monopoly of the literature. So these are his immense contribution for our country.
And do you think that women have really been empowered in our society?
Yes, sir. I do believe that over the time the condition of women has improved, and it is improving even right now.
Okay, can you tell me some sectors where it can be improved further?
Sir, I think politics is one area where
Yes, exactly.
where the contribution of women can be improved. Right now, it is only 13%. Overall, 13% parliamentarians are women, so their representation might go up. Reservations can be provided for them.
So how can it be done?
Sir, one way is to implement 33% reservation for women in parliament and in state legislature also. And, sir, some on economic front also, the more opportunities can be provided to women, like, sir, equal pay for equal work, these kind of things.
Okay, I think that's all from my side.
Take care. All the very best.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.